Now, you don't have a final decree, but you had a prenuptial agreement. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and that's her signature and your signature on the prenuptial agreement.
That's correct.
Any objection, Miss Fun? Okay, what's your objection?
This prenup was made in scratch. It was signed by both. It has scratches. It was not legalized, and I don't think a document like that could be a valid prenup.
What would you like the court to do?
I would like to be granted part of the LLC money and also be part of the Kalama Street house. And also I would like to see, and I would like to have the total value of the Jeep in my name.
Also the 401k savings, that it's also part of the community property.
Based on the testimony and the documents, the prenuptial agreement.
Let's get a short backstory so you guys can better understand what's happening with this young businessman. When they met, she was still living in her country, so they got married and she moved to the US. But since he was well established, he knew that he needed to protect his assets, so he decided to get a prenup signed before they got married, and it was done. But now, she wants half of everything, and she wants the judge to dismiss the prenup they deliberately signed so she can take half of everything he owns.
And at that time, when you separated, did your wife leave the marital residence and go to another state?
She did. She was removed by the police from the residence.
Is there any reasonable expectation of reconciliation with your wife?
No.
Now, you don't have a final decree, but you had a prenuptial agreement. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and that's her signature and your signature on the prenuptial agreement.
That's correct.
Any objection, Miss Fun? Okay, what's your objection?
This prenup was made in scratch. It was signed by both. It has scratches. It was not legalized, and I don't think a document like that could be a valid prenup. It was not signed by a notary or a lawyer, and it is totally a scratch.
Based on those statements alone, it seems like she knew what she was doing from the beginning. She claimed that it shouldn't be considered because it didn't follow the norms a legal prenup should follow. But let's say she is correct. Why did she sign it when she knew it wasn't done properly? Since she is knowledgeable on the matter, shouldn't she inform him about it? I bet she was laughing when he gave her that paper to sign, as she knew that she still had a case even after signing it.
Okay, Mr. Starr, your response. She's
Okay.
making a legal argument that it's not a valid prenup because there's some formalities that were required formalities that were not attended to or in the document.
Mr. Minusco, did you have a lawyer draft this?
I did not.
Okay. Well, it's an opposing party statement, Your Honor, and they're both of sound mind. And they agreed to this going into the marriage, and parties are able to contract among themselves, and this is a contract between two parties.
All right, you want to put it on the screen?
That was a good point. Since both are adults and sound minds, they made a contract between them, and in my opinion, it should be considered. But I hope this case will serve as a lesson for those who feel the need to protect their assets. If you want to get a prenup, make sure you do it correctly. Find a lawyer and do everything legally to avoid this type of situation. He wouldn't have gone through all this if he had been guided by a professional. Judge cannot reverse a prenup. Prenup means she came in with her own stuff and leaves with her own stuff. She gets nothing else. She signed a prenuptial agreement. If there is a prenuptial, it's set already what she gets. She just needs to find herself another man to support her. If he did a prenup, he knew something was up. If someone asked for a prenup, I'd be gone. That's a deal breaker for me.
What would you like the court to do?
I would like the court to grant me safety and security in this country by having health insurance provided by my husband, from Ireland, of course. because I moved here and I now have no family, no nothing here, and I need to start my life.
So she wants her ex to sponsor her new start. I am not sure if she knows that, but a lot of people try to live in a different country, and when things don't work as they expected, they either find their way there or they return. We can't expect to get our lives sorted by someone else. If things don't work out, you need to find a solution, and usually, it's not fully relying on another person.
I also would like to be granted part of the LLC money.
She is not playing on business. She said she wants to be granted part of the company, but we all know she meant half of it.
Plus, I help him running the Airbnb, and I help it taking care of the tenants of the Airbnb people. I help it with the yard. I help it painting the house. I help improving the house for the rental income that he was making. So I would like to have granted some of that money from the LLC.
This was the best part of it. She believes that since she helped him run the business by doing things like painting and gardening, it would automatically make her the second owner. Let's say she is correct. If we use her logic, almost everyone in this world would be a business owner. Most of us need to claim ownership of the company we worked for because we helped our employer run their business. You don't become an owner just because you helped someone run their established business.
Also, I am and also be part of the Kalama Street house. And also I would like to see, and I would like to have the total value of the Jeep in my name.
She wants half of his house and company, but for some reason she didn't want to split the Jeep value. That was interesting. She didn't want to divide that one. I don't know why she wanted 100% on the car but was open to split other assets. Maybe she thinks that since the Jeep is worth less, it would be fair to take it all for herself. So she wants him to pay for her new beginning. What happened? She wants everything. Move back to your family. Girl, I get divorced. I'm alone in this country. I work and support myself. She wants a free ride. She would like a private plane also.
Based on the testimony and the documents, the prenuptial agreement, for one, I haven't completely looked at. Petitioner's Exhibit 2 was admitted, but I'm not sure there was testimony on all of it. So what I'm doing is basically buying, they call it taking it under advisement. Some people say taking it under avoidance, but actually I need to lay everything out and see what was pleaded and what testimony supported those pleadings, and what the prenup actually says, because I didn't see all of it. So that would go into my decision on a fair and equitable division of the marital estate, and based on the testimony, whether the house was separate and what's the deal with the LLC and the Jeep and all that. So I just basically, judges take things under advisement when they need more time to look at the documents.
As I have the knowledge, also the 401k savings, that it's also part of the community property.
All right, I'll put that down on your closing argument to look at the 401k and see how that should be divided. All right?
The judge should have reviewed the prenup before the hearing, but the prenup should stand. I like how she slides in the 401k at the end. Unbelievable. No wonder he wanted a divorce. She wants the 401k? Wow, her friends really told her to go after everything. The fact the judge did not read the whole prenup is beyond me. Bro, she had an agenda. She is too knowledgeable. What I don't understand is why she is called greedy. This is a normal fight on a divorce where everything should have divided equitable. We have to agree that she is a smart woman. Nothing escaped her radar. At this point, it's all about securing the bag. She doesn't want to go about her life just like everybody else. But at some point, she will understand that if things don't work out, it's time to move on and let each live their lives. Mind you, they don't have children yet, and we know the type of divorce they would have if a child was involved. It would be way more complicated with more demands and entitlements. After listening to the whole story, his decision to get a prenup made more sense. He was already predicting the future, and that's why he got it done. But unfortunately, he didn't do it correctly, which is why he found himself in this position. What I found a bit strange in this case was the fact that the judge didn't check the documents before the hearing. It would have helped a lot, and maybe she would be able to finalize this case. But don't worry, I will keep an eye on it, and as soon as the final verdict is done, I will post it.
I also heard that prenups can get practically thrown out of court. Is that true?
Yeah. So a lot of people's prenup get thrown out of court because you either had them sign it under duress, which happens the most.
What does that mean though?
Under duress means under pressure. So the wedding's today, here's the paperwork, we ain't getting married. That's duress. You can't do it.
But how do they prove that in court if they got married 5, 8, 10, 20 years before that?
Because you signed the date on it. And you know what the date of the marriage is.
Okay.
And so those sorts of things get you thrown out. But the biggest reason that that prenup get thrown out is because you didn't disclose all your assets.
Really?
Yeah.
Basically, have your lawyer look at your prenup. That is not under duress. Every single contract in the world would be signed under duress then. Can I tell the judge that I signed the dealership papers under duress? So the man can say he got married under distress? In a lot of states, you need to sign a prenup at least 3 months before the wedding, or it's considered duress. So if I signed my car note under duress, that was a valid point, and I do understand where she was coming from. But it would be better if we were able to use the same reason to get out of many other contracts we aren't willing to carry on with, or that we changed our mind about. If being under duress can be used to invalidate the prenup, can a marriage also be invalidated for the same reason? That's a good question, and I know they have a good answer to justify why under duress doesn't apply to marriage. But to make things simpler, and to avoid future headaches, those who want to get a prenup need to get a lawyer involved. This is the best way to have peace of mind in case you ever need to use it. You don't want to be in a position where you lose half of your assets just because your prenuptial agreement isn't valid.